Hey guys, welcome back to Wentworth Life and welcome to my next episode review video. Today we are looking at Season 5, Episode 3, Nothing But the Truth. And this is the episode where everything boils down to Sonia going down or not, and will Liz manage to convince the jury and be set free, or will she crumble? Well, we are about to discuss everything right here, right now, so get yourselves comfy. The way this episode begins, it always makes me giggle, and it really shouldn't, but I can't help it. Now, when the episode begins, we witness Sonia shaving off Liz's hair, and we even see some of Liz's Goldilocks fall into the floor. Now, luckily, Liz was just having a nightmare, but it always makes me giggle, especially when Liz wakes up and she feels her head, checking that her hair is still there. It just makes me laugh anyway. So Liz is having Sonia nightmares, and I think it's all starting to really get to her. And Liz's day gets even worse when Dawn tells her that they want her on the stand sooner rather than later. This makes Liz even more on edge because she's unsure if she's going to be able to remember the whole statement that she's been trying to rehearse and memorize. And just to add a little bit more pressure onto Liz's shoulders, Sonia comes bursting into the dining room and demands to know that which one of those bitches is witness X, because she gets shown a statement from her solicitor which clearly shows that it is one of the women in Wentworth making this witness X statement. Now, Doreen chats with Liz later on in the cell, making sure that Liz knows exactly what she's doing, but Liz, she is very determined to go through with it because she wants that release so bad. She's sick of the same shit day in, day out in the prison, and I honestly do not blame her. This would have been a total get out of jail free card had it not been a cruel setup. Now, when Liz is actually leaving through the back door of the prison in her, normal clothes, Juicy Lucy happens to see her leaving with Dom. So Juice knows that Liz is witness X, but Juice keeps quiet for now. Juicy is clearly wanting to keep this information to herself and use it when she needs it at a later date. Oh, the prison system is a calculating little place. When Liz gets to court and she's put on the stand, this is when everything goes very south for her. Now, Liz remembers everything in that statement, but there is just one problem. When Liz says that Sonia killed Helen and then shaved her hair before dragging her dead body to the car, this isn't true, because Sonia's barrister ends up pulling out a photograph, and it is a photo of both Sonia and Helen hugging and smiling, and Helen's hair is already shaved. Now, this completely causes Liz's statement to collapse, and she ends up confessing in front of everyone in that court that she lied, and even protects Dawn. She says that she wasn't coerced in any shape or form because Liz, poor Liz, has fallen in love with Don Kaplan. Now, this results in Sonia Stevens' case completely collapsing, and Sonia is set free. And poor Liz, she is driven back to Wentworth with the realization that she's going to be there for many more years to come. I can remember thinking when I first saw this episode that this can't be the end of Sonia's story. Surely there has to be more to it. I was a little concerned that maybe the writers were going to leave it there with Sonia's story and leave it to the viewer's imagination as to whether was Sonia ever really guilty or not. Now, luckily, they didn't leave it there, and everything is revealed in the next episode, thank goodness. Now, let's move over to Frankie, because Frankie was continuing to find a way to try and prove her innocence, and somehow prove that it was Joan Ferguson who had paid somebody to follow her around and kill Mike Panisi and frame her for it. Now, after Bridget has a very small session with Joan, Bridget comes to the realization that Joan had nothing to do with it and tries to tell Frankie, but Frankie isn't convinced, not yet anyway. Now, when Frankie meets with her lawyer, Frankie comes to the realization that the only person who can help her is Shane Butler, because it was his gun and he can confirm that Frankie did take it off him and dumped it in the bin. So later on, Shane does agree to go to the police to give a statement for Frankie, but Frankie, she ends up receiving this letter, and in the letter is a photo of a kite wrapped around some barbed wire with the caption saying freedom. This is the moment where Frankie realizes that Joan didn't have anything to do with Mike Panisi's death, and that it must have been someone who Mike knew, someone that was close to him, because Frankie only ever told Mike about her kite necklace that means freedom towards her, you know? So Joan, she knew nothing about this. It couldn't have been Joan. So Frankie ends up running to the telephones and rings Shane to stop him from going to the police, and instead has a little chat with Vera explaining what she has just discovered. But Vera tells Frankie that, you know, there's nothing that she can do. It's something that her lawyer will have to look into. When I first saw this, I was really racking my brains of maybe some past inmates who Frankie had become enemies with, but I was really confused. None of it was making any sense to me at this stage. However, the very tail ending of this episode always gives me goosebumps, because Frankie ends up telling Ali that the answer to whoever killed Mike Panisi is on the outside and she is stuck in prison. Now Frankie, she ends up standing in the yard and staring up at this barbed wire, and one of these red ribbons from B's memorial wall that's in the yard has blown off the memorial wall, and it's got stuck up onto the barbed wire. Now while Frankie is just standing there staring at it, the red ribbon slowly makes its way through the barbed wire and slowly blows out of the prison, and Frankie ends up having a cheeky little smile to herself. Now I have always incorporated this as B Smith's spirit showing Frankie what she needs to do. She needs to go over the wall, as in escape. But I think that is just such a wonderful, beautiful moment. Now I spotted this message straight away, but a lot of people who I've watched this episode with for their first time, they've never really noticed or understood what the ending of that episode actually meant. But honestly, like, I've got goosebumps now, guys. It's hauntingly beautiful, and it's such a nice way to have be still relevant in the show, even in the afterlife. Tina Mercado's drugs starts to take a nasty toll on the women of Wentworth when fights start breaking out everywhere, and Ali even gets injured trying to stop a fight in the shower block between Kim and that other woman, the blonde one. Now Kaz ends up admitting to Ali that she made a deal with Tina when she became top dog, that she would allow Tina to deal her drugs and basically run her drug business. But Ali reminds Kaz that she hates drugs. She hates drugs just as much as B did. So later on, Kaz tells Tina to hold back on the drugs for now, but Tina basically tells Kaz to, you know, go and do one, go and get stuffed. So later on, Joan ends up telling Kaz where she can find the drugs, and Kaz and Boomer, they end up flushing it all away. Now Joan didn't do this in the kindness of her heart towards Kaz, because this is just Joan wanting to recruit Tina and Juice and all of the drug users and the drug sellers for her own personal gain, but that will continue in the next episode. I have to mention the really funny moment when Joan tries to get past Boomer, and Boomer's just there pretending that she cannot see Joan because Joan is a ghost, and it's just so funny, it's so Boomer, and it's bloody brilliant. And I just wanted to finish off this review with a very sad and upsetting scene, and it's when Frankie tries to push Bridget away. Now Joan, she ends up reporting Bridget and Vera to the ombudsman about Bridget and Frankie's relationship. Now it does actually go against Joan, and Jane is then labelled and proved to be this liar, but Frankie, it really cares for Bridget, and she cares far too much for Bridget to lose her job. So there is this scene where Frankie tries to force Bridget to make out with her, and Frankie even ends up ripping open Bridget's top and revealing her bra, and it's actually really uncomfortable to watch because Bridget doesn't want it because, you know, of the circumstances that they are in the prison. And Bridget, she does end up pushing Frankie away, and she delivers this like really powerful line, and it's along the lines of, you know, if you're trying to push me away, you failed. You wanted to hurt me, you succeeded. And it's really, really sad to watch. Now, Frankie does this as a very last resort to push her lover away. And it's really, really hurtful towards Bridget. Now, whenever I watch this scene, it does make me wonder, was Bridget sexually assaulted in the past? Because if you cast your minds back to season 4 during a scene where Bridget and Joan are having a psych session, Joan fires some questions towards Bridget, and one of those questions is, have you ever been raped? And it definitely hit a nerve with Bridget during that scene. So I honestly think that when Frankie did what she did in this episode towards Bridget, it really, really hit a nerve in more ways than what we or Frankie even expected. And it really shows in the scene immediately afterwards when Bridget is sitting in the staff room looking absolutely broken. What do you guys think? Do you agree with this theory? Let me know. Okay then, a really good episode. Lots of storylines currently up in the air, floating around and getting ready to come crashing down. My favourite part in this episode is definitely Boomer pretending Joan is a ghost, and also the moment where, you know, Boomer punches Tina Mercado while Kaz is getting rid of the drugs. It's just totally Boomer. And my least favourite moment is definitely Liz being pulled to pieces, ripped to shreds in Sonia's trial. Things are just gonna get even worse for Liz from here on in. But let's hear some of your thoughts. What are your favourite moments from this episode? And did you understand that message at the very end with B's red ribbon? Let me know everything in the comments box below. Okay then guys, thank you all for watching today's video. Make sure you smash that subscribe button, stay safe out there, and I will see you all again very, very soon.